In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
Hello. This is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, here on another episode of Escape the Legal Matrix. And attorneys, what? Freedom from bondage. Yes, from the legal matrix. How's everybody doing out there today? Tonight or this morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone, country, territory you're in. We've got a great episode that we're going to talk about today, tonight, this evening, morning, again, wherever you are. And I'm really excited to be here. And I hope you are excited to be here. So, what is the topic for today? Well, I'm going to tell you what it is. It's about being alone. It's lonely at the top. Yes, it is. Very lonely being at the top. So, many times in your life, I feel quite confident because I know I have, even though I've been around a crowd of people, I still felt alone. I did. I felt alone. Now, I may have had some personal problem going on or professional problem, and then maybe it was weighing on my mind. But I could have been around a group of 10, 20, 30, maybe 100 people, good friends, family, parties, barbecues, but yet I still felt alone. And for those of you that are in law school right now, you're in the academia, maybe you feel alone, maybe you miss your boyfriend or girlfriend, I don't know, maybe you had a breakup, or you're having a tough time with your academics. But once you get into the legal matrix, i.e. the legal profession, and you are assigned to cases with a client or clients, or maybe it's a corporation that's your client, and it's all up to you, win, lose, or draw, it's going to get lonely. It is going to get lonely. Because when you are the leader, everything falls on you. You cannot pass the buck. You either succeed or you fail. Now, in litigation and in the law, everybody has a different view of what winning or losing is, or whether you're successful or not. For example, if somebody charges first-degree murder and you get them acquitted, hey, I'd consider that a huge win. If they're clearly guilty of first-degree murder and they got the goods on them with no reasonable doubt, but you managed to get your client life in prison versus the death penalty, to me, that's a win. So again, it can be subjective. It's on a sliding scale. But still, when you are the lead attorney or you are the one in command of the case, for whatever side you're on, plaintiff, defendant, okay, state or defendant, whatever it is, it comes down to you. It's a heavy burden. It's a heavy weight, man. It really is. And even with your paralegals, your legal assistants, maybe your co-counsel, golly, you can feel alone because it does come down to you. I just recently spent, 4 straight days in litigation. And leading up to that, weeks, months, over a year, prepping, getting ready for this big day. And we're still not done. We still got to come back in another 2 weeks to finish up. But the enormous burden and weight, and not just of this trial, but of many trials in my career, of my client or clients. You feel that weight upon you. And as I sat in the courtroom of this nonstop testimony and direct examination and cross-examination and redirect and recross and offering exhibits and legal arguments to the court and objections and arguing over the objections and closing arguments and blah, 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 and so on and so forth, it all came down to me. One of my staff was with me at the trial. But it wasn't on her, it was on me. The opposing counsel was on her. It's a weight that you carry. And in the legal matrix will seek to crush you. It wants you to fail. It doesn't want you to succeed. It only wants you to succeed if it keeps you in the game, if it keeps you in the matrix. See, the legal profession was set up to intentionally make people and ideas and agendas collide. And you want a legal system that challenges the government, that challenges the evidence. You don't want innocent people going to prison, and you don't want people getting civil judgments against them that should not have civil judgments against them. But in this process, there will be pain. Because when you are leading the legal team, when you are leading your law firm, it comes down to you, what you do or fail to do or say or fail to say. You cannot pass the buck. You can't do it. Or else you can't be a leader. And you are going to feel alone. There are many days and many nights, even if I was successful or I won the trial, however I define winning or successful, I would come back to my office and feel completely just drained. I mean, just drained. And sit there and everybody would be gone. And I would look around and I realized that I was alone. There was nobody there. And in the mornings before I would go to trial, it would just be me. Just be me and God. And I would say some prayers. I do for trial to be successful, to have wisdom, to have the courage, to be bold, to have the energy, to have the strength. Because some of these battles and trials as a lawyer, it's uphill, man. You're the David against the Goliath. And you're out there all by yourself while everybody's standing behind you hoping, man, I hope he slays Goliath or else we're done for. And that's the way you're going to feel when you step into the legal arena. And even if you're not in a courtroom and maybe you're preparing some huge contract, some huge deal, a merger, anything of that nature, it still falls upon you and only you. And you have to be willing to accept that burden. You have to be willing to accept that accountability. You have to be willing to accept that responsibility. You have to be. And if you're not, then this is not a profession you can enter into, because the legal matrix, it will hold you accountable. It will bind to you, man. It will bite into you like a pit bull, and it's not going to let go. And you have to know. You have to have the skill sets. You have to have the gravitas to lead. And to understand that even when you're alone and there's nobody around to help you, you have to be able to save yourself. And because again, while Jesus can save your soul, and that is true, nobody's coming to save you here on earth. You have to save yourself. And you do that by developing skill sets, by developing the tools in your war chest, and developing and leading you. So it can be lonely, very lonely at top. I remember the day I graduated from college. I got commissioned as a second lieutenant, regular Army, and I was on active duty that day. And I remember after I got commissioned first, then went to the graduation. They recommissioned us in front of the whole graduating class and families. And after we got our diplomas, I remember it was hot. It was in Florida. I remember walking back to my car because I was going to drive home because I had about 2 weeks before I had to report into my duty station before I would go overseas for 5 years and 2 months. And everybody was gone. And I was in uniform, and I still had, my graduation gown in my arm. It was hot. It was just hot. And I looked around, and everybody was gone. I had spent 4 years with these people, living with them, laughing with them, and all of a sudden, it was just gone. It was done. And here I was, this brand new second lieutenant in the Army, active duty, and my family had already left to go back home, and there was nobody there. It was like a twilight zone. And I remember this awful feeling. It was just horrible. I was just as excited as I was to graduate and get my commission and get my degree. I felt all alone. I almost started crying. And I was just looking around a full 360 degrees, and I swear there was just nobody there. And I walked all the way back to my car at the dorm. And I got in my car and I looked around again and he was gone. And as I got in my car and as I drove to get to the interstate to go back home, I was in the car all alone. We didn't have cell phones then. There was nobody to talk to. The only one I could talk to was myself or to God if I wanted to pray in the car while I was driving. But man, I can remember that. And it was painful. It was just painful. And I never forgot that. And when I was an Army officer and I was in charge of and leading soldiers as a platoon leader, as an executive officer, as a commander, or when I was on staff leading my teams, when I was leading and I was in charge, I was accountable for what we did or failed to do. And I felt alone. I could have tons of soldiers, other lieutenants, other captains, other senior non-commissioned officers around me, but I still felt alone. You can even feel that way in marriage or a passionate relationship where they could be right there with you and still you can feel alone. You can. And then the legal matrix, it could be just you. You're the David. Okay? You're the David. Or you're the Wonder Woman, okay? And you're battling everybody, everything. Judges, the opposing counsel, maybe your staff, maybe your own client, maybe your own family, and mostly maybe yourself. And it's just you at the top. It's just you at the top. And some people can't understand that because they're not at the top. They're not leading. They're not taking the responsibility. They're not taking the burdens that go with being a leader at the top. That's why leaders are rewarded. That's why they get paid more. That's why they get more benefits. Because they're taking the risk and the responsibilities and the accountabilities, and those folks are not. And that's the difference. Just like when you're an associate, yes, you go into the courtroom, you're alone, but at the end of the day, it's the partners in the law firm that are really on the hook. They could fire you, but it's still their name on the board until you open, own, operate, and lead your own law firm, and it's your name out there on the door, on the shingle. Yeah, then it's a whole different story because you will rise or fall based upon how you lead and what you do or what you fail to do. And you will be alone. Leaders are often alone. Even the president of the United States, whether you like the president or you don't, whoever it is at the time, that you're alive, okay? At the end of the day, they can have a cabinet and all the advisors they want, but they're alone in making the final decision. Man, that's a heavy burden. It's a heavy burden sometimes to live. It is. I mean, God gives us free will. You want to know why? Some people see it as a burden. It's not. It's a gift. Because you get to, when you feel the pain of losing, and then you have the feeling of winning, they're two distinct feelings. God gives that to us. So you understand when you lose, and then when you win, you understand the difference. You're not just some robot, some artificial intelligence. You're a human being with physical attributes, with emotional attributes, with spiritual attributes. That's what distinguishes us from the animal kingdom. And even in life, with billions of people on this planet, you are unique. You have a unique DNA. You have a unique personality. Every individual born into this world is unique. But even with the billions of people on this planet, there are going to be times when you feel alone. You will. And the further you go in the legal profession, i.e. the legal matrix, the higher you climb, even the more money you make, you're still at times going to feel alone. So you have to ask yourself, are you equipped? Do you have the phraseology, i.e. the frame of mind, to battle, to collide, to war when it's just you? Can you lead the charge? Can you do it? Because if you're a law student and you wish to continue this path, you have to be willing to accept your commission to be a leader for your client, for your law firm, and mainly for you. If you decide to open, to own, to operate, and to lead your own law firm, everybody will look to you. Failure will not be an option. It won't be. And you will fail. You will fall on your face. The issue becomes, as a leader, even though you're alone at the top, will you get back up and will you lead? You're going to be alone many days and many nights. And people, your friends, your family, even your spouse, you're still going to feel lonely. You will, because it falls upon you. You will awaken some nights, maybe 2, 3 in the morning, and you'll stare at the ceiling. Maybe you're headed to trial in a few hours like I was last week. I had to be at court at 7 a.m. It was just me and God, the meditation music, but it was just still me. Even though my dog is a Labrador Retriever, he was there, but I was still alone. People can give you words of encouragement. They can pat you on the back. They can pray for you, but it's still on you. Leading your law firm, leading yourself, it's going to be a weight upon your chest. You are going to carry burdens of accountability, the burdens of responsibility. It will fall on you, and you have to be able to cope with it. You have to be able to deal with it. You have to be able to wrangle with it. You have to be able to get down in the pit and fight 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 some more till you can't fight and you fight again in order to get to the peak. This is what you have to do. You have to do it. For those of you who are bold enough, who are brave enough, who have and want an impossible game of opening, of owning, of leading your own law firm in truth and in freedom and focusing on the 5 domains of body, of being, of balance, of business, and fulfillment. Understanding there's a process in each one of these domains, and there's pain, and you have to embrace the pain. You have to do it. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to get comfortable with leading, even in the most adverse circumstances. You have to get comfortable to understand that you may be totally alone at times. And in that loneliness, in that darkness, there's light. And that you can stand up, that you can rise. And despite what's ahead of you, despite the obstacles, despite the pits, despite the Goliaths that are all in front of you, you will slay the Goliaths. You will overcome the obstacles. You will climb out of the pit, and you will embrace the pain to continue to move forward in truth and to lead and understand that it will not be the last day that you are alone. Many leaders through history, human history, have been alone. Now, it's my belief that God has been with them, but other people may not have been. Even Jesus, when he was crucified and died, he was alone. Everybody else around him had fled, but yet he was not alone. So what am I saying to you? I'm saying to you that if you're ready to be a leader, be bold and courageous and move forward to open, own, operate, and lead your own law firm, then embrace the pain of the loneliness that's going to come with it at times. And we can't resolve how you grapple with it in just this episode. Reach out to me. Contact me. I can help you in this. I've been there. And for me, it will not be the last time that I've ever felt alone. It will happen again and again and again and again. There's no end to it. There's not. But I've learned to navigate it in the legal matrix. I've learned to fight the legal matrix. The legal matrix will not win this war. It will be a bloody war, but it's a war worth fighting. If you want your freedom in body, being, balance, business, and fulfillment, then communicate with me. Fight with me. War with me. Be part of Legal Warrior. Be part of Escape the Legal Matrix. Don't just sit on the sideline. Don't wait and think that somebody's coming to save you, that it'll be tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll deal with it. Tomorrow. No. Your loneliness will always be there. You just have to know how to navigate within it to be strong. I understand this. I've been there. I have the battle scars to prove it. I do. All right. So ask yourself the better question. Where in your world are you all alone? And wherever you are alone, what are you doing to continue to rise as a king and queen in your kingdom and to build your life to be the best version of who you can be? And if you're ready to open, to own, to operate, and to lead your own law firm, your own life in this realm of fighting the legal matrix, or maybe you're already working for somebody, but you're ready to go out and be free, be on your own, and be the commander of your own ship and make the calls. You're ready to accept accountability, and you're ready to accept the responsibility, but you're not sure how to do it, then contact me. Okay, so listen, this is Bryce Nair coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, love and light. Until the next episode, we're out of here.